Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to lecture 23 of data mining. So I hope all of you are doing well. So we are into the last couple of weeks of the semester, and we will continue with our discussion on classification that we started last time. So we had introduced classification as a problem last time, and then we also discussed some categorizations for classification algorithms. We then briefly started talking about decision tree learning. So we'll be discussing decision tree learning in more detail today. And we'll talk about the basic decision tree learning algorithm. And then we'll also talk about random forest, which is, you can say, a more modern approach and ensemble-based approach for classification using trees. So that is basically the agenda for today. We do have a quiz later today as well, which is going to be quiz 8, which is the second last quiz. So any questions before we get started with new content?
Yes, sir, I have a question.
Gigi.
I want to ask when we are calculating the value of pi, are we calculating it on n objects or n minus 1 objects?
Computing the value of pi in distance-based outlier?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I think in pi, for example, the pi is based on the fraction of objects that lie outside the neighborhood. So that fraction is I mean, there is no hard and fast answer. I think to make things easier, you can compute it for over the entire n.
You have shared an example. उसमें ना 7 objects थे. तो 7 objects पे हम pi calculate करे थे. 50% of objects को हमने check करना है. तो हम जो 50% है वो 7 objects पे calculate करें या 6 पे, क्योंकि उसमें से एक object के लिए तो हम calculate कर रहे हैं कि वो distance based outlier है या नहीं. तो ये नहीं मुझे समझ आया.
I mean, मैं यही बताना चाह रहा था ना कि इस तरह के issue you can resolve it by making a decision yourself. Sometimes I'll mention it directly in the question, you include it or you do not include it. And if you think about in practice, usually you don't have just 7 objects in practice. In practice, you have thousands of objects. In that case, -1 doesn't make any difference. So it's not a major issue. Of course, for assignments and quizzes, it might be an issue. The best solution there is, if it is not explicitly mentioned in the question, you write your assumption. Okay? So that's the, I think, answer to it. Otherwise, from practical perspective, it doesn't make any difference.
All right, thank you.
Any other question? So any other question? So we had started talking about decision tree learning. This is for, this is supervised learning. And more specifically, we are talking about classifications at the start. So in classification, we want to learn a model or a data structure that would be able to assign a label to a data object from a fixed set of possible labels. So given some attributes for a given object, we would like to get an output which is from a fixed set of possible outputs. So we discussed this last time, so you can think of it as a mapping from the feature space to the space of possible labels. And that mapping is done by a model, a structure, a procedure that we intend to learn during the classification process. So in the case of decision tree, that model is actually a decision tree, a tree structure. A tree structure starts with a root, then have multiple leaves, multiple nodes along the way until it reaches the leaf. So very quickly, what's a decision tree structure? So DT structure. So basically, it's a tree, as the name suggests. We have nodes. Nodes are basically decision nodes. So these nodes basically split the data on some attribute value or on some attribute and its values. Okay? And then we have the leaf nodes. So these are the starting nodes. So leaf nodes have the decisions. So each leaf node would have a specific decision. So you start from the root, the top of the tree, you follow the decision nodes according to your data set until you reach a leaf node. Once you reach a leaf node, you will have the label for that object given there. So this is the data structure which you would like to learn from data. And just to set the example stage, I'll take a very simple data set using A, B, and C. So there are three binary. So three binary attributes, and each of those take on values from the set 0 and 1, let's say, two possible values. Okay? And then we have another attribute which is class, which is also binary, let's say. And this also takes on values from 0 and 1. Of course, the procedure that we are going to discuss is easily generalizable to other categorical attribute datasets. You can have more than 3 attributes. Each of those attributes can have more than 2 possible values. And of course, the class attribute can also have more than 2 possible class labels. Okay. So given such a data set, and of course, when we are saying, I say that we have a data set, I say call that a training data. So you have some data where you are given A, B, C, and the class label as examples. So your data set would have A, B, C, and for each data, you also have the class. So for example, you might have 1, 1, 0, and let's say the class is 1. And of course, you have multiple such examples in the data set. So this data set is a training data set, meaning that you will use the data set to build a model, which in this case is a decision tree, which you can then later on use to make predictions. So last time we mentioned that decision tree learning, the basic decision tree learning approach is from an algorithmic perspective or from a methodological perspective is information theoretic in nature. It uses concepts from information theory. Secondly, if you talk about the procedure for building the tree, that procedure is greedy in general. If you talk about the algorithmic perspective. And secondly, it is kind of a divide and conquer approach. So greedily, we will be selecting one node. We will be selecting a node to make a decision on. And for that, obviously, we'll need a criterion to decide which node to make a decision on. So that criterion in the terminology of decision tree is called the splitting criterion. And this criterion comes from information theory. So that's why these techniques are called information theoretic. So at the start, what do we have? We have a training data set with 3 attributes and a class. Okay? We want to build a tree. And at the start, of course, we don't have any tree. So we need to have the root node. So what should we use for the root node? What attribute should we use as the split condition at the root node? So this is a decision that we have to make upfront. Okay? So any ideas how you can select a root node that would lead to a tree that is a good predictor or a good decision tree? So we have three options. We can select A, we can select B, we can select C. So let's just for example's sake, let's say if I select A, what does that mean? If I select A as the root node, it means that I'll be splitting the data set using the value of A, and there are two possible values for A, 0 and 1. So there will be two edges going down from A. One, let's say the left side is 0, the right side is 1. So all the data set that goes on the left edge would have the value of A is equal to 1. All the data set on the right side would have the value of A is equal to, sorry, left side A is equal to 0, right side is A is equal to 1. So we have split the data using the value of the attribute A. Okay? So which attribute would we choose? So we have three options. Again, we are doing it greedily. So we use a number of criterions. So the most popular criterion are entropy based, and we have already studied this. We had studied entropy while we were discussing data preprocessing, and we use entropy for, let's say, discretization. And there also we talked about supervised discretization. You already had a class label. The same thing is done here. Okay? So let's say for an example's sake, तो लेट्स से मैं एक एग्जांपल ले लेता हूँ, ए है आपके पास और एक क्लास है, and of course there are only two class in this data set. So let's say जब a is equal to 1 है, let's say they are the set of objects with a is equal to 1 have class labels. Let's say 5 have class label 0, and let's say 3 have class label 1. So in other words, in our data set, there are 8 objects that have a is equal to 1, और 5 उसमें से आपके 1 के 0 है और 3 उसमें 1 है. And similarly, जब a 1 होगा तो उसमें जो set आता है, let's say ये, I would say that this is 4 and 1. ठीक है? There are 5 objects, 5 observations in my data set in which if I split on a with value is equal to 1, I have 5 objects. 4 of them would belong to class 0. 1 of them would belong to class 1. ठीक है? So what is the entropy of the data set after the split? So we have the formula for entropy. ठीक है? So there are two splits now. एक a is equal to 0 के साथ है, a is equal to 1 के, हर एक के अपनी एक entropy होगी. Entropy is a measure of impurity. ठीक है? So if I talk about the a is equal to 0 split, उसकी entropy क्या होगी? So entropy of, for example, so basically we have -5 divided by 8 into log, you can take any log, but I can, let's say, take log 2, 5 over 8 minus 2 divided by 2 था 3 था 3 था 3 divided by 8 into log 2, 3 divided by 8. So this is the entropy or a measure of homogeneity, or sorry, inhomogeneity of this portion. Similarly, you can compute that for 1. So इसकी entropy क्या होगी? So we have 4 and 1, so -4 divided by 5 into log 2, 4 divided by 5 minus 1 divided by 5 into log 2, 1 divided by 5. ठीक है? So this is the entropy of the second partition. So what is the entropy after the split? You will have to weigh, basically add up those two entropies, and weigh them by the size of each split. So इसको मैं कह देता हूँ E1, इसको E0 कह देता हूँ, ठीक है. So entropy after split is basically then the first partition में हमारे पास size क्या था, 8 था. Total data set size क्या था, 8 plus 5 13. Weight करना by the size, 8 over 13 into E0 plus 5 over 13 into E1. So this is the entropy after the split. And what are we splitting on? On the attribute A. But this is just one option. हमने बाकी option भी निकालने हैं. हमें बाकी options की भी entropy निकालनी है. So इसको मैं EA कह देता हूँ. ठीक है? Similarly, I'll compute EB and similarly I'll compute EC. So now we have 3 entropy values after the splitting using A, B, and C. So which one would be considered better from a decision tree perspective? So the entropy that is lower, meaning that after the split you get homogeneity. Because classification में the best scenario would be what? कि जब आपने split किया तो एक जो branch थी उसमें let's say सारे एक ही class के आगे दूसरे zero आ गए और दूसरी जो branch थी उसमें ये zero था वो दूसरे के आगे. So you have a complete perfect match, homogeneity in each of those. So better the homogeneity, the lower the entropy. ठीक है? And once we have multiple options, we will choose that with the lower entropy to split on. So again, since we are using the best, this is a greedy decision. So I don't have a full data set, so let's assume that we have selected one, and let's say A is selected at root. ठीक है? Which means that A has the lowest, after the split, the data set that we have has the lowest entropy. ठीक है? So once you have done, selected A, now you have gone, you move down the tree. So A has, of course, 2 branches, 2 childs, one for A is equal to 0, one is equal to A is equal to 1. So if you take A is equal to 0, for example, अब इस set में कोई data set filter होके आएगा. All of the data set in this, you can say branch, would have A is equal to 0. So the options now that I have at this branch is B and C. And all values for A, of course, will be 0. So we don't consider that. And then, of course, class. ठीक है? And similarly, A is equal to 1 दूसरी branch में, इसमें भी आपके पास B और C होगा और class होगा. But now all of these examples would have A is equal to 1. So in other words, आप assume कर सकते हैं कि जो आपका original data set था जो root पे, वो 2 में split हो गया. एक left पे चले गया, एक right पे चले गया. अब this data set that has gone to these 2 branches, इसके ऊपर recursively वही decision आप apply करेंगे. ठीक है? So that's why we call it divide and conquer. So we have greedily selected the root. Now we go down a path and then greedily select the next node to decide upon. So let's say if I take the left path, A is equal to 0, मेरे पास दो ऑप्शंस हैं, B और C. So again, I will compute after the split at this level of this data set. I will compute E, B, and I will compute E, C. So again, based on which one is smaller, I will select that. Let's say I say कि C select हो गया. Similarly, on the other side, A is equal to 1. Let's say for example, B select हो गया. दो options हैं ना इधर भी, B and C. Now B select हो गया. So now your tree has grown. So you now can think of the tree as so your tree now is essentially A at the root, 2 paths. इधर आपका अब राइट साइड पे हमने B सेलेक्ट किया, इधर लेफ्ट पे हमने C सेलेक्ट किया, एंड देन अगेन 2 paths. ठीक है. So greedily we have selected A. The left path में again greedy test किया हमने. We found that C was the best. We selected that right path. We tested, and we got B. ठीक है. And then given this data set had only 3 attributes. So जो left path पे जो आ रहा है, A root पे था, फिर मेरे पास C था, and then each of those C के नीचे 2 paths हैं, उसके पास सिर्फ एक ही option है हमारे पास, C की, B की. So there isn't any choice. So you can check that and then split again and you reach the leaf node. Or you will stop if after that the data set that reaches a leaf in a portion is, you can say, homogeneous or pure. Homogeneous or pure in terms of the class, meaning that if all the data set that reaches a particular branch has all the class labels as either 1 or 0, it means that you don't need to split any further. You have obtained a set which is pure or homogeneous. But if there is still inhomogeneity, you might try splitting on any remaining attributes. In this particular case, A, C के बाद सिर्फ B रह जाता आपके पास. And sometimes सारे attributes लेने के बाद भी you might not get a homogeneous data set at the end. So that is possible, depending on your classification problem. So now quickly, the question here is, so when do we stop? Of course, this was a very small data set. You had only 3 attributes. Real world problems might have even dozens and hundreds of attributes. So should we grow our tree as much as possible? So kind of very simple, stopping. So one very obvious reason is you stop when data becomes pure. So this is, of course, meaning that there is no need for further partitioning. Pure means that, of course, entropy becomes 0. But in practice, usually you stop when E becomes less than some threshold. And that threshold is some small value. Okay? And of course, you will always stop if you have exhausted all the attributes from the root to the leaf node. जैसे हमारी एग्जांपल थी, हमने ऊपर A लिया, लेफ्ट पाथ पे C लिया, and if we had taken B, उसके बाद तो further split हो नहीं सकता था, because there are only 3 attributes in our data set. ठीक है, तो but in practice the usual stopping criteria is the homogeneity of the data that goes to a particular branch or leaf node, and you check it over a threshold. Okay. So any questions so far? Now, I'll talk about a couple of other measures. So far I've talked about using entropy. Identical to entropy, but of course used in a different way, is what is known as information gain, or IG. This is actually identical to entropy. So what is an information gain? Information gain is simply entropy at root minus, sorry, not root, any particular node minus entropy after the split. So meaning that entropy before the split minus entropy after the split. So for example, if you talk about the root node, पहले आप entropy for the entire data set निकालेंगे, and then let's say you split using A, so entropy of A निकलेगा. So the information gain for A would then be E minus EA. ठीक है? So for any decision, E would remain constant because वो तो change नहीं होगा. Let's say IG मैंने A निकाला तो E minus EA है. IG मैंने B निकाला फिर वही E आएगा minus EB. IGC निकाला फिर वही E आएगा minus EC. So this is identical to entropy. You will get the same decision. Now that of course we will choose the attribute that has the maximum information gain. पहले we are choosing the attribute that has the minimum entropy, that leads to the minimum entropy after the split. Now we use the attribute that has the maximum entropy gain after the split. Sorry, maximum information gain after the split. So this is identical. So in the literature, you will see both information gain as well as entropy. There is another measure that is sometimes used, which is called a Gini impurity or Gini index. So Gini is a measure of inhomogeneity, just like entropy. This measure was, I think, originally proposed or more popularly used by economists. They use it for quantifying the homogeneity of wealth in a particular population. So, but it is also sometimes used for decision tree learning. So there are some minor differences in the performance of Gini and entropy, but nothing can be said definitively. So if you really want to try, you will have to try both for any particular practical application. So far, and of course, Gini G is a measure of impurity, just like entropy is a measure of impurity. So it is not information gain. It is similar to entropy, not information gain. So Gini is computed in this way. So 1 minus sum over all the possible classes K, let's say, and P K square. ठीक है? So let's take the example that we did earlier on. So हमारे पास था A is equal to 0 का जो split था वो क्या था 5 3 था, और A is equal to 1 का split जो था वो 4 1 था. ठीक है? So Gini would be computed for each of those splits. So let's say Gini मैं निकालना चाह रहा हूँ 5 3 का. So there are two classes. ठीक है? So how would I compute it? One, P basically is the fraction of objects belonging to a particular class K, or proportion कह लें. ठीक है? So we will have one minus, so दो classes हैं, तो पहला class हम लेंगे which is 5 divided by 8. So proportion क्या है? 5 over 8 है, and you square it. ठीक है? So this is the first sum करना है for all the classes. There are two classes. तो दूसरा मेरे पास आ जाएगा माइनस ही रहेगा, जो माइनस है वो सम से पहले है. अब यहाँ हमारे पास 3 over 8 था होल स्क्वायर. ठीक है? So this would be the Gini for the first partition. So let me call this G0. ठीक है? So इसी तरह G1 दूसरी जो पार्टीशन है is equal to 1 minus, उसमें मेरे पास था 4 over 5 squared minus 1 over 5 squared. So this would again quantify the impurity. And G A of course would be as before, मेरे पास 8 over 13 into G0 plus 5 over 13 into G1. ठीक है? And then of course we will compute for GB, GC, और जिसका सबसे थोड़ा है, that is the one that you select greedily. So these are the two, you can say, basic measures from information theory that are used for the splitting criterion. Entropy, and of course entropy or information gain same hai, simply iska usage reversed hai. And then Gini index or Gini impurity. There are of course a number of variations that are based on these two indices or these two measures. So I will mention one of those which is popular in practice. That is called the information gain ratio. Okay. So far we have computed information gain before. Okay. So you can call this IGR. Okay. So for example, previously we had computed information gain of A as basically entropy at the root or at the node minus entropy after the split using A. Okay, na? So this was information gain. So information gain ratio IGR of A is simply IG of A, जो ऊपर निकाला है, divided by a intrinsic value for A. So in other words, we kind of normalize the information gain. And why we do that, I will explain this shortly. So if, let's say if you have two attributes, A and B, let's say A has only two possible values. So A has only 2 possible values, and let's say B has 10 possible values. Okay? So B has 10 possible values, A has 1 possible value. So if you use B to split, you will have 10 branches, right? And if you use A to split, you'll only have 2 branches. So B will split the data set into smaller chunks. What is the probability that those smaller chunks would be purer? It would be higher. Those smaller chunks are more likely to be purer as compared to the 2 splits that you get using A, because those splits would be larger in general. Okay? So in other words, B would get an unfair advantage based on the number of distinct values that it has. Okay? So B would have an unfair advantage over A. So there is greater probability or chance that B would lead to entropy that is smaller than the entropy that A produces after the split. So we would like to minimize this, we would like to reduce this impact. So to reduce this impact, we divide the information gain by the intrinsic information value of that attribute. So the intrinsic information value is simply the maximum possible entropy. Let's say if you're using entropy for that particular number of distinct values. For example, A का let's say मैं कहता हूँ so 2 distinct values. What is the maximum possible entropy? So minus 1 over 2 into log 2, 1 over 2 minus 1 over 2 into log 2, 1 over 2. So this would be, I think, 1. But if you have, let's say, 10 values, then of course, you will have something like this, 10 into minus 1 over 10 into log 2, 1, 10. Okay? So this would be a larger value. I think it would be this value would be 1, it would be, I think, 10. Okay? So this is a larger value. So in other words, the intrinsic, you can say, value that we get for an attribute that has more distinct values is higher. And given our intuition that if an attribute has more distinct values, it might unfairly produce more homogeneous splits. So we use IV of that attribute to divide our information gain. ठीक है? So हम फिर information gain A, IG, A का जब निकालेंगे तो IG जो पहले निकालते हैं A का divided by IV of A. And similarly we do IGR of A, एक second. So B का होगा, so IG of B divided by IV of B. ठीक है? So since IV of B is going to be larger than IV of A, तो हम दूसरे वाले को थोड़ा सा कम कर रहे हैं. तो जो natural उसको tendency मिल रही थी ज़्यादा कि उसको reduce करें, then we make the decision. ठीक है? So we make the decision using IGR instead of simply using IG. Okay, any questions? Okay, so we have discussed 3 splitting criterions. Using entropy, we can use information gain, and also we can use information gain ratio. And then we also discussed Gini index or Gini impurity, which is similar to entropy but a different measure. Okay, so so far I had discussed a classification problem in which all the attributes A, B, C were categorical or discrete. So decision trees can also be built when some of the attributes are continuous or numbers. For example, A, B, C, and class are. So let's say A is, let's say, age, for example, which is of course a number. So one way, of course, is that you can always discretize the attribute a priori using preprocessing, during preprocessing, and make sure all the attributes become discrete, and then apply the techniques that we had discussed earlier. But you can also directly use continuous attributes in the splitting decision. So let me explain how that works. And we have done this, by the way, exactly when we talked about discretization. Because discretization में क्या होता था, एक attribute continuous होता था, and we want to discretize it. And we used the labels, in this case, the class, to help us in the discretization. So here we will do the same thing. So let's say, so we'll have to sort the data set using the attribute A, which is continuous. So let's say age ka data set hai, to just to take a very simple example, let's say 23, 25, 25, 26, 4 examples हैं, ठीक है, sort किया हुआ from descending to ascending. और class let's say मैं binary ही कहता हूँ, और 1 0 मैं कह लेता हूँ, let's say ये 0 class है, और let's say ये 1 है. Alright, okay, और ये भी 1 है, or let's say ये 0. Of course, this data set looks like it's not, this attribute doesn't really classify this data set, but just to explain how we do this. एक सेकंड, क्या हुआ? Okay, just me see. 23 0 है. इसको चले, I wanted to explain, तो इसको मैं फिर 0 ही रख देता हूँ. चले, let me explain in this way. Okay, obviously you can notice के इसमें once you sort the attribute A, the class labels are very nicely sorted. पहले 2 zeros हैं, बाकी 2 ones हैं. So obviously here you can see that you can split the attribute A at the position. So at the, of course, both of those values are 25. You can split okay. You can split at 25, but then of course you have two values for 25. One is 0 and one is 1. Let me do another example. So let's say this is 0. ठीक है. So let's say 25, मैं कहता हूँ ये 0 है, और 26 let's say 1 है, and let's say 27 1 है. So in this case, as you can see, you can split A at the value between 25 and 26. So usually in दोनों का जो middle point होगा 25 plus 26 divided by 2. So you can make a decision like if A is less than 25.5, then that is a left branch. If so, that is the decision. If this is false, you go to the left branch. And if it is true, or if it is true, you go to the left branch, false, you go to the right branch. So those splits हो जाएंगे. And then you proceed naturally after that. Okay, so in this case, of course, you had only one option. But let's say आपके पास कोई data set है और आपने sort किया उसको, तो उसमें इस तरह का कोई trend आया, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, फिर 0, फिर 1, 1, 1. ठीक है? So there isn't any one split that will give you the homogeneous split after that, one position at which you get the homogeneous split. So now here you notice there's a change, 0 or 1. So one option would be कि आपका जो भी value A की between these two 0 and 1 वो आपने एक choose करना है. अब यहाँ भी एक change है, 1 और 0 के दरमियान. You have to select this one as an option also. ठीक है? इसके दरमियान जो भी value A की आ रही है. And then this one. इसके दोनों के दरमियान. So now you have 3 possibilities. अब तीनों possibilities को आपने check करना है और जिसका entropy after the split सबसे थोड़ा, that is the best that you choose. So now in other words, even though you are checking just one attribute A, but now you are checking one attribute की 3 positions check कर रहे हैं. So within a particular attribute you are checking 3 possibilities. और उन तीनों possibilities में से जो best है वो आप choose करेंगे. And let's say you have multiple attributes, B है और C है, तो आपने सारों की A की भी जैसे 3 possibility, let's say B की 2 थी, C की 5 थी, तो सारों को आपने देखना है और जिसका best है वो आप choose करेंगे for the split. And then of course you repeat at the lower levels. Whenever you have continuous attributes, you usually only have binary splits because हम एक rule बना रहे हैं, if value is less than this, then go this path. If it is greater, then go to the other path. So just to give you an example, let's say A के 2 splits हैं, options हैं, ठीक है? B के let's say आपके पास 5 हैं और C के let's say 3 हैं, ठीक है? So we will check 3 plus 5 plus 2 options, and among these, which one gives us the least entropy after the split, that is the one we will select. ठीक है? ठीक है? Any questions? Okay, so now let's move on to the issue of overfitting and the associated things that we need to do for a decision tree. So overfitting, I think we have not talked about in this course. Very quickly. Overfitting is a phenomena that typically arises in supervised learning. And classification is an example of supervised learning. So what is this phenomena? So what do we have? We have a training data. The training data is a sample from a real world process. Obviously, we don't have the entire data for that process. You can think of like students, the entire student body at LUMS. So if you want to build a model, we will not have usually the entire student data, we'll have a sample of that. ठीक है ना? So the training data is usually a sample of the population. So we will build our model. So we'll build our model on training data, just like we learned a decision tree using a training data. Tree आपके पास आ गया. So once you have built that model, you will use the model on new examples. So these examples are in general unseen, meaning that they are not present in the training data. Of course, if you have examples in the training data, you already know their label. You don't need to make any model and use that model to make the prediction. You already have the label. So that's why we call that unseen. ठीक है? ठीक है? And the set of all such unseen examples, we usually say that that is the test set. Okay? That is a set of all unseen examples. So obviously, so you will have two performances. So if you run the model that you have learned from the training data set over the training data set itself, you still get an error. So let's say error over the training, okay, data set, as well as error over the test. Okay. Test data set is not seen by the model, by the decision tree. If in general, the error, we are talking about error here, you can use any other performance measure like accuracy, which is the opposite of error. Okay. So if the error on the test set, error of test set is greater than or significantly greater than the error on training set, then we can say that there is a issue of overfitting. What is the overfitting? The model has overfitted the training data. It has learned the training data well such that the training data pe error uska kam hai, but the real use of that model, which is on new examples, unseen examples, which is captured by the error on the test set, that is large or higher. Okay? If this phenomena occurs, then we say that we have overfitted the training data, and this is generally not desirable in classification or in machine learning. Why? Because in the whole idea behind machine learning is we want to build a model from a sample, but once the model has been learned or built, it should work well on other examples for prediction. In this particular case, it did not work well. It's giving poor performance on the test set. So if such a case occurs, then we say that we have run into the problem of overfitting. So the whole issue of overfitting is a much bigger discussion, which I think in a typical machine learning course, you spend a lot of time on. Obviously, we are not going to do that here. So overfitting can arise from two primary reasons. Of course, there could other minor issues as well. One reason is that your model is complex or expressive. So in our case, our model is a decision tree. So when would a decision tree be complex or expressive? When the decision tree is big, it's large, the number of nodes is high. Okay? What does that mean? Then it can model more complex data sets. And the second thing that it's kind of complemented with the model complexity is data size is small. So if the training data that is used to build a model is relatively small, then you're likely going to overfit. If your model is expressive, meaning the model is complex, you are likely to overfit. So these are the two main, you can say, practical ways of reasoning why overfitting or when overfitting may occur. ठीक है. So we are talking about decision trees. So the complexity of a decision tree is, you can say, quantified in some rough way by the number of nodes. Okay, so if you have two decision tree, let's say DT1 है, इसमें let's say 10 nodes हैं, और DT2 है, इसमें let's say 50 nodes हैं. So obviously DT2 is more complex, more expressive. ठीक है, and DT2 is going to more likely going to overfit. ठीक है. So how do we handle overfitting in decision tree learning? Again, there are a number of techniques. We will quickly discuss two. One is called early stopping. So what this means is you stop growing the tree when, as we discussed earlier, the entropy at the leaf becomes less than some threshold. So we do not try to get pure nodes, we just stop at a intermediate node. Okay? At some threshold for entropy that is bigger than, somewhat bigger than 0. Okay? So it means that you are stopping growing the tree. By the way, how do you grow the tree? You grow the tree from the root downwards. They no add karte rehte hain. So you should, what we are saying is, once the entropy at a particular node becomes less than this threshold, you stop, you not grow the tree further. So that means that you have fewer nodes in the tree and it's now less likely to overfit. So that is one way. The other way is post so the other way is called pruning. Okay? And this is done after the tree has been learned. Okay? So in this case, what happens is once we have built the entire tree, फिर हम नीचे से ऊपर जाते हैं and then we select nodes randomly and remove them. मतलब आप simplify कर रहे हैं model and check whether that improves our overfitting, or improve का check का तरीका वही है, training test set पे आप performance निकालते हैं. If there is improvement, we remove it and we continue removing until we notice that there is no further improvement. Okay? So that is pruning. And so let me just give you an example. Let's say, so let's say आपके पास एक decision tree बन गया है, DT बन गया है. ठीक है? So this DT would have an error over the test set. Training set पे जो भी error है वो निकला होगा, of course, but we want to prune it. So let's say it's test error. So E का जो, sorry, error of DT कोई है आपके पास. Now you basically remove a subtree and replace it with a leaf. So let me have to draw this, I think. Let's say आपके पास कोई ट्री यहाँ चल रहा है और ये लास्ट नोड था उसका, these are the leaves. तो ये आपने पूरा यहाँ से ऊपर ट्री चल रहा है, यहाँ से पूरा ये डिलीट कर दिया. If you delete all of this, then what happens is ये आपका लीफ नोड बन जाएगा, नीचे ट्री नहीं जाएगा. So now your tree has one less node. So this is the new tree. You can call this DT prime. So you check the performance of DT prime on the test set. If the test error is reducing, इसका जो error था left वाले का ज़्यादा था और right वाले का कम था, this means that this is helpful pruning. So you will do it. But ideally what we'll do is we'll check all options, because obviously a tree has many options at a particular level. So आपके पास एक ये node होगा, एक ये होगा, एक ये होगा, एक ये होगा, all of them, you check all of them, और जिसके साथ सबसे ज़्यादा error कम हो रहा है, that's the first one that you delete. So let's say इसमें बीच वाला कोई आपने एक node delete कर दिया, तो maybe then you will have this, then you have a root node, a leaf node इधर आ गया, and then a node and a node. And then you repeat this until there is no further reduction in the error over the test set. So this basically is called post pruning, because post इसलिए लगाया हुआ है कि we have learned the tree completely first, and then after the tree has been learned, we kind of remove nodes from the bottom. And the criterion for removing is we check all possibilities, और जिसके removal से सबसे ज़्यादा error improve हो रहा है, error कम हो रहा है over the test set, that is the first that we remove, and we repeat this until we are satisfied. So we are removing nodes, meaning that we are making the tree simpler. इसमें एक और approach भी है, rule post pruning है. This what I mentioned is called subtree post pruning. Rule post pruning भी है. I would not go into details, although in practice sometimes that is preferred. So I think we're also running out of time. So I will stop here. If you have any question, you can ask. So we'll have about 5 more minutes on decision trees, and then about 10 to 15 more minutes for random forest, which we'll discuss in the next lecture. And then after that, I'm still not sure what to cover. So I had mentioned that I'll talk about temporal and spatial temporal data mining. So most of the stuff in that area is related to how to handle such kind of data. The techniques at the end are more or less the same that we have already studied. So anyway, so we'll discuss some of those ideas in the next lectures and the following lectures, and see what else we can do. So any questions?
Okay, guys, for the quiz, please turn on your cameras. So your quiz is published. You will be able to access at 6:05 p.m. Also keep in mind that attendance is mandatory for the quiz. I also sent you an email. So you have to be present in the Zoom meeting to attempt the quiz. Please turn on your cameras.